As someone who works in the field of self-knowledge, awareness, guiding, creation, and helping others ultimately find their purpose and meaning, there is a simple and key point in our journeys here, which is understanding that we are nothing unless we're present. We are not growing or evolving until we have developed a very strong inner compass for reflection. There is no manifestation without the presence of reflection. Reflecting on who we are, our actions, thoughts, beliefs, and their impact in our experience. What we are changing and what we are truly in control of changing. When we are being proactive or negligent, what's our vision of life and what values we live up to. Because before we begin to talk about human evolution, we need to talk about personal involution. And if we don't, the comfortable pandemic in being and feeling lonely will spread further and further. And no, I'm not talking about viruses or lockdowns. I'm talking about the silent crisis of modern existence: burnout, disconnection, depression, anxiety. And at the end of the day or life, no one really cares if you're a CEO or a pizza delivery or have 20 children. What, you will take your title and cash stash into the grave? But the only thing you can take with you is what still remains living, thriving, and beating in your heart. And the heart beats not in comfort, not in accumulation and consumption, but in change. It beats in lightness, in giving. What matters is really the person you are. If you're somebody who is welcoming change and allows it to fill your heart every time to serve, or one who chooses to resist it, making your heart almost contract with fear of the unknown, choosing the familiar comfort again, holding on to titles, names, possessions, and so on. You know, when you are in love and you are about to meet the object of your affection, even if you had the shittiest day of your life, the moment you see their face, you can't help but smile. Sometimes even smile and look like a maniac or a 5-year-old kid in a toy store, because their presence simply makes you light up. It makes you smile. And this presence of love is that which creates the change in you. It creates the change from gloom to glow. You change from making it all about you and how you feel and how shitty your day was, to giving a smile and shifting your presence when you are in love. So believe me or not, but you're not changing in sound bath sessions, cacao ceremonies, community dances, or travels to Bud. Yes, they're all great for learning, helping you take time away to reflect, to reconnect, but awakening, true awakening, only happens through love. Again, not in singing bowl, but a human being with a pulse. And until we don't understand that, there is no cure for loneliness. Those who have a person to wake up to in the morning and smile at them upon opening your eyes as they smile back at you are the wealthiest and happiest of people, because they're no longer self-reflecting. They're now being reflected, and not just waking up to a body that lies beside you or lives somewhere in your head, but a somebody that reflects the presence of love. Because this recycling of bodies living in our head or just staying for the night is the result of fearing love and promoting the comfortable loneliness living. I mean, even look how the world has developed. We have made connection what comfortable. Swipe right, left, typing bubble emojis. We have made consumption comfortable. Amazon in a day, groceries in an hour. And so now we expect love to be comfortable too. We go on a dating roller coaster. Click, match, crash, hit and run. And if that was a driving accident, you would be put into prison for that. So what do you think happens to your soul? It gets locked up too. You just don't see it, but you sure feel it. Never satisfied because you keep needing comfort again and again. Not truth, not transformation. You hit and run, not staying to recognize the lesson behind the discomfort of being present. We show up when we feel like it, when we're in the mood, fearing to be seen the other 80% of the time when we're not in the mood, when we don't feel like it. Why? Because that's when the truth begins to resurface, and that's when we are no longer comfortable. We are no longer oh cute, but we start getting triggered to change, to changes that we subconsciously know we need to make. And that's when you begin to show not just the free version, but the full paid subscription version and package of you. Because the only thing that is true and it's real is that if it doesn't change you, it's not love. So let's talk about the pandemic that rarely makes headlines: comfortable loneliness. We live trapped in our fears, our comforts, our distractions. And most people, they're not even aware of their own destructive tendencies or what some call the shadow side. As a woman, I will speak from that side first. Many women are unknowingly self-dysregulated, highly reactive and neurotic. Emotional hygiene greatly lacking. Something I was also never taught nor good at, but invested a lot of time in learning. Notice what happens every month in the best case. A storm of hormones come, and we offload it primarily on our partners. Headaches, pain, no intimacy, complaints, outbursts, and so on. Now imagine being the man on the receiving end. Month after month, year after year, even a man who loves you deeply and is highly empathetic and understanding can reach his limits. Because it's not just about your hormones, it is also about accountability. Men who are generally less likely to be emotionally literate, incapable of understanding emotional flow, let alone dealing with it, how much do you think he can live with that constantly, or with this constant chaos? And I get it, some women do experience more pain-related period symptoms, and it does vary from a woman to a woman. But I can't begin to tell you how many women have no practice in place to help them regulate their hormones, their emotions, and their sensitivities. There are many women who completely neglect finding solutions and outsource their emotional burden onto men. And eating ice cream on your period and stuffing yourself with pills is not a solution, but a choice that only makes it worse, especially in the long run. We, as women, have our period every month because it is a gift. Learning how to flow with this emotional cycle. It is where we as women are born to take responsibility and accountability for in our lives. For our emotions, how we flow, learning to trust our bodies and take the time for inner connection and not make our partners responsible for our mood swings or be our therapeutic intern. Because if you truly love him, you take responsibility for your health and for your emotional state. You learn to preserve and nurture your energy. And if you don't know how, yet you become also aware and recognize how much this is impacting your relationship or lack of one, then you begin to educate yourself. You learn because this is what love does and is going to make you do. It is going to teach you to grow from your discomfort. And men, let's not pretend this is one-sided. You often avoid discomfort or the slightest unpleasant remark like it's the plague. You escape, withdraw, porn, drugs, you fill in the blank. Distracted like a little kid in a candy shop. Your energy is everywhere but here. You seek pleasure but dodge presence altogether. So for a moment, imagine a woman who is connected and present, who is available and seeks for closeness and safety. Well, running away the moment something gets uncomfortable, it doesn't feel very reliable, trustworthy, let alone safe. I mean, there is just so much she will wait around and tolerate your ignorance before one day she decides to walk away. Where is the discipline? Where is the stillness? Where is the safe and reliable space? And don't worry, you won't die from discomfort. It is actually the place where you will learn the most about boundaries, self-control, responsibility, what men are here to cultivate in order to learn presence in life. Both sexes are playing roles here. What I notice is everyone is playing a character, trying to be liked instead of being real. Of course, they will like you on your good days, which is only a small version of yourself and not the whole package. Or let me not say small, but definitely not the full version of you. Because when you meet her neuroticism or chaos, or his lack of self-control or childishness, then that's not very attractive. It almost becomes like a kindergarten with no supervision. Someone's about to get hurt real quick. But it's also not just about being attractive. It is least but comfortable to deal or to live with. And this is where the real challenge is presented. This is where people are here to learn and grow from in relationships, to recognize that love exists. When we see where we are being dysfunctional and that we are the ones that need to change if we want love, by growing from our own self-sabotaging behaviors. So here is the truth. If someone loves a version of you that you created just to be accepted, they don't actually love you. They don't even know you. They love the character, and the character eventually expires. So relationships collapse. 3 months in, masks fall, the sun sets, the rose-colored glasses fall off. You realize that this wasn't love. It was just two actors on stage trying to keep the show going. The show must go on. Real love begins when you stop performing, when you can say, here I am, unedited, unfiltered, unapologetic, imperfect, but here, present to do the work. And if someone stays, it is not because you are perfect, but because you are real. And this is when you know you have found something sacred, something that is true. So if you want to test if it's love, live together. Because when you're with someone 24/7, there is no space to fake it. You see them broke, tired, unshaven, cramping, moody, messy. You get the point. You see them triggered, and if you can hold each other in those moments, recognize where each one needs to be more proactive, That is when you have your real spiritual growth journey. Because let's be honest, a real spiritual growth happens in a relationship and not on your Machu Picchu pilgrimage. And if you can't do that, then what is this? Another compromise made out of fear. Love is not a compromise. Love is a choice to evolve and to learn day in and day out. And there is no love without growth. There is no growth without discomfort. And we don't see how uncomfortable we are or can be until another one invades our comfortable space of existence. And here is where it gets real uncomfortable to even realize and accept the truth of. In reality, we suffer because most people don't seek love. Most people seek comfort. Most people are couch surfing, just don't want to admit it. They want someone to tolerate their bad habits, their emotional mess, their lack of self-awareness, their lack of presence and escapism tendencies. But if you truly want something to hold you through all that without changing you, then buy a couch or get on a comfortable bed like this one. Like my teacher likes to say, if you want comfort, go to the furniture store, get a couch. You can even get a custom-made one for your own specific needs, size, and shape. Sit on it, eat your menstrual ice cream there, play your video games there, cry into a pillow, do whatever feels good. Because real love is anything but that. It won't let you dig a hole in your couch or stay the same. It says it's time to switch up the diet. Confront and heal your triggers. Be emotionally available. Become disciplined. Be present. It's a silent voice that says, get up. Let's do it. What we really want. Women, what we truly want is intimacy. Intimacy is about safety, trust. It's about accountability, emotional presence. So as a woman, this is the greatest gift you can learn to give yourself with or without men. Learning emotional presence and having the tools for navigation and regulation. Learning to trust your body and be in it. And men, what you truly want is respect and play. But that requires stability and discipline in a loving environment. We all know the greatest athletes made the game through hours and years being committed and dedicated to their sport. So it requires you having principles of commitment and dedication and being initiative and forthcoming with certainty. And if you want her peace, joy, and to be respected, then learn to become and be consistent, grounded in your efforts through commitment and dedication and clarity. And if you want his presence, love, and protection, then become emotionally mature, regulated. Know your body so well that you can attend to all the flows, that you can swim in still waters, but also ride the waves. Learn to nurture yourself and be nurturing for him too, creating a space for love to grow. And now back to the beginning. Before evolution, the evolution of relationships where we experience love, respect for our individuality, rooted in creation and growth, we need individual involution. What does that mean? Involution is the inward journey, back to your essence, your truth, your divine center, or your creative abilities. While evolution is about building, involution is remembering. Evolution is outer growth. Involution is inner depth. Without involution, there is no real evolution. There is performance and a need for validation. There is a chase, an empty striving, which creates loneliness. But when you combine them, you don't just grow, you grow with purpose. You love with soul. I stand before you now not just as a speaker or trying to teach or convince anyone anything. You can take what you like from this video and leave the rest behind, or don't even watch it altogether. But I stand here today as an involution alchemist because I dedicated the lesser half of my life, I'm not that old yet, really exploring the world within before coming on here and having anything worthy of sharing with you. Because I was once comfortably lonely, both single, at home, in a relationship, and that never felt like a meaningful way of living. Well, because it is not. We are not here to be lonely nor comfortable, but to turn inwards, look within, understand where we need to grow, how, and have hope that despite the experience of the past, or even our current experience in the present, or even what we may have seen as an example, it is not a definition or a label to slap on your chest. It becomes a call for growth, that we can evolve, we can build connections and experience belonging. Because deep down, this is what every single soul is here on a quest for, to find belonging. Only the one who knows where he belongs is never alone. But we don't belong to titles, we don't belong to accounts, we don't even belong to groups, because all of these things have expiration dates. The only place where we truly find belonging is love, because only there the tiring chase stops. You no longer need to be something. You don't need to play a role. You need to become present, which is the greatest lesson of our human evolution, learning to be present. So if you need guidance in turning inwards, to use the pain as fuel, the wounds as wisdom, the triggers as tools for transformation, and learn where you belong, then you have landed in the right place, my soul awakening space. Because this world doesn't need more people chasing love. It needs more people becoming love. And this ends with seeking comfort and starting to make the change today, like asking the question, where do I belong? And do you really think it's uncomfortably living lonely? The heart doesn't break. What breaks are the comfortable illusions you live with, preventing you to love fully.